Welcome to the third part of this series. I'll start off by giving you the solution for the last video's homework, and then I'll teach you about prefabs and enumerators. So open your script. There are many ways of doing this, but I'll teach you the more simple one. It may not be the best, but it will work for now, since you're a beginner. So you want to check again if the user is pressing the key R, and if he is, you want to reset the queue position. So you want to move it to that position. You can do that with the transform.position. So gameObject.transform.position, and now you give him the vector new vector3, and inside you write the coordinates for that position. So let's check that position. Click on the cube. And the position should be on the transform here on the inspector 0, 0.7, 0. So go back to the script. 0, 0.7, and 0. Here, because it's a decimal number, it's a float, you need to write an F. So it converts it to a float. All these numbers are integers. If you save it and you go back to the Unity, now if you press play and you move your cube around, if you now press R, it will reset back to the original position. A better way to do this is if you go back to your script, on the start, we get the position of the cube. So create a new variable. And now we'll store the original position when the game starts on this variable, like this. And then here, instead of writing this, you can just write now if you press play, you can see it works the same. And it's better this way because if you move the cube to a weird position and if you play again, it will reset again to that position. As you can see, don't worry if you couldn't find a solution by yourself, just keep trying and we'll improve as the time goes by. Now let's start with the prefabs. If you go to the official Unity documentation about prefabs, you can see that prefabs are game objects that can be stored with all its components, properties and values, and also the child. And they can be instantiated at runtime. So let's create a scenario where we can use this. Go back to Unity. Now let's say you want spheres to fall from the sky, and maybe the player has to dodge them. So let's start by creating the sphere. Right click, 3D object, sphere. Change the name to something like rain sphere. And let's create a new material for it. Go to Assets, Materials, Create, Material. Name it rain sphere. I'll change to the colors to, let's say, pink. and drag it there. And now let's create a prefab of this. Let's create a new folder, name it Prefabs, and open it. Now, it's really simple to create a prefab. You just click it and drag it. And as you can see, now we have a prefab of that object. You can just drag it and it'll create copies of it. And they can be called and created at runtime with scripts. So let's create a script for that. Go to Assets, Scripts, and let's create a new one. Name it Rain Manager and open it. Let's start by creating a new variable, public game object, name it sphere prefab. And let's drag there the prefab. Go to the Unity and let's create here a new empty object. Name it Rain Manager and drag the script there. Now we have a new attribute, the prefab, and let's drag there the prefab. Now, all we need to do is to instantiate it. Go back to the script. On the start, write instantiate sphere prefab. And as you can see here, we need to give the transform parent. It can also take a vector of its position. So let's give a vector. Let's say 0, 5, 0. Also we need to give the rotation. Don't worry much about this for now. Save the script. Go back to the scene. Delete the rain sphere. And play. If you look on the scene, you can see it instantiated the sphere. But it's not falling down. So let's fix that. Try to guess why it's not falling down. You should know it by now. I'll give you a second. Pause the video if you want to. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the sphere doesn't have a rigid body. Let's add one. Go to the prefabs, click on the sphere, add component, rigid body. Now press play again. Here's our sphere. Let's modify the position a bit so it doesn't fall on top of our player. Go to the script, write maybe on the z-axis maybe like 4. Let's try that again. As you can see, that worked. But just one sphere falling down isn't fun, right? So let's make it instantiate a lot of times. We can do that with enumerators. So let's start by going to our script. Let's start by creating some variables. Public, float, spawn, delay, public, int, amount. We'll be using coroutines because we can set a delay on them. So let's start by writing IEnumerator rain delay, and inside write yield return new wait for seconds span delay. This means that the code, when reaches this line, will wait for this amount of seconds before continuing. Let's call this function on the start. And now here we just need to create a loop. You can write just for, double press tab, and it completes the rest. So for int I equals to 0, I less than amount, I plus plus. Put this inside. And also let's instantiate it here. So let's remove it from here and place it here. So let's break this down. When the game starts, it will call this coroutine. It starts a loop that will run for the amount of times that we choose. It will instantiate a sphere and wait the seconds we choose. And it will repeat until it's done. So let's save and go back to Unity. Select Rain Manager, say span delay 1 second, and let's say 5 spheres. If you now press play, you can see that each second it spans a new sphere. You can choose how many you want. Let's choose something crazy like 50 spheres every 0.1 seconds. Let's try it. Oh, they don't fall down. Amazing. Now, we don't want them to span out at the same place, so next video I'll teach you how to span them across the map. Now I'm going to give you the homework for the next video. I want spheres to span every 1 second, and I want 20 of them. Like we have it, we just need to change the rain meter, 1 second and 20. And I want you to add something to the script so it spans orange capsules at every 5 seconds. It's basically the same thing you need to do, but now with orange capsules. So give it a shot and I'll see you on the next video.